Peter, pumpkin cheater. Joe obsesses over finally beating Patrick McCloskey in Quahog's pumpkin contest. The guys help by hiding his prized gourd, but end up smashing it.
I have to go to the bathroom more than the pail in here!
Peter tries to fix things by climbing inside the pumpkin and somehow wins, until everyone's exposed for cheating the same way. Meanwhile, Stewie animates Rupert after a fight with Brian, only for Rupert to overhear Stewie wishing Brian dead and go on a murder spree. Stewie drowns him in a toilet, but Rupert pops back out of the dryer like nothing happened. A Halloween tale of betrayal, homicidal teddy bears, and Quahog logic. Gift of the white guy. Peter forgets his workplace white elephant gift and panics.
I can wrap and give away. Kodak disc camera, dead dad's shoes, tiny cardboard box, that's perfect. There's something inside, even better.
Handing over Lois's heirloom brooch. It lands with Preston's mom at a maximum security nursing home, forcing Peter and the guys into a geriatric heist straight out of Ocean's 11 Retirement Home Edition. Meanwhile, Stewie fears he's on Santa's naughty list and gives up villainy until he accidentally vaporizes Meg.
Hey, Meg, can you cut that out?
Dad?
Please don't tell your mother about this. I took an extra job.
He begs Santa to revive her and she reappears on Christmas morning, alive but hogtied with her legs backward. Peter confesses the brooch swap. Lois forgives him because Runtime then kills Widow by accident with the jewelry. Merry Quahog Christmas. Fat Gun. In a wild Top Gun parody, Maverick and Goose start flight school in 1969, but Goose's death sends Maverick into decades of sulking. He finally returns to train rookies, including Goose's underqualified son, Rooster, who resents him. The duo crash in enemy territory and are captured by Charlie and her friend.
Let's just pull on two.
On or after two!
Bitter about being cut from the sequel. Just when all seems lost, a resurrected Iceman swoops in to save the day. Back in Quahog, Peter breaks the fourth wall to brag about Top Gun. Maverick's box office before skydiving with a tiny Tom Cruise. Subtle? Never.
Why are we jumping again?
So people will watch your stuff. And because, I don't know, I'm not in a movie all the time.
Live, laugh, love at the Drunken Clam. Peter's salad-fueled jokes bomb. Especially with Joe, who admits he's never laughed at Peter. Crushed, Peter obsesses over getting a laugh.
And Peter.
Escalating to sneaking into Joe's bedroom to type "haha" on his phone. Instead, Peter lands himself in hospice, tangled in cords.
Who's there?
Ironically, Joe finally laughs at Peter's list of surgeries, giving Peter the validation he wanted all along. Meanwhile, Lois chaperones Chris and Meg's DC trip, humiliates them, and bonds with Principal Shepard.
They're just legs, guys.
He confesses about his lost 90s flame, Shelley Barnes.
God, you look great. Listen, I know it must be odd to see me standing here all these years later.
Lois helps reconnect them, only for Shelley to show up washed out and addicted. Shepard isn't heartbroken, he's relieved. Sometimes Quahog victories come from lowered expectations. Drunk with power. Peter's stuck giving Pawtucket Brewery tours, which bomb until he's assigned to escort Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. They bond over beer, blackout, and Peter wakes up to find Brett's quit note.
I don't want my life anymore. You take it. Brett. P.S. This is the first time I've ever put clothes on anyone without their consent. Ha ha ha.
Leaving Peter as the newest justice. His goofy charm wins over the court until Brian warns his vote could kill same-sex marriage. Meanwhile, Brett reinvents himself as the gang's new buddy, thriving in Quahog debauchery until he realizes he can balance beer and rules. Back in court, Peter pushes to ban all marriage, but Brett storms back to reclaim his seat and protect gay marriage. Peter gets booted, but leaves one last bizarre ruling because Quahog law means nonsense.
To Peter Griffin, who brought some common sense to this court.
I didn't. Beer did. Thanks, booze.
Lois C.K. Lois misses a girls' night after Peter's antics derail her plans, ending with her at the Tipsy Shrimp on open mic night. After roasting Seamus's awful set, she vents about Peter on stage, and the crowd loves it.
He's so dumb, he hit his head trying to dive into his ocean screensaver.
I didn't know Lois was doing comedy, but that's hilarious.
Suddenly Lois is Quahog's hottest comic, landing gigs, and even a TV special. But when Peter finds out she's cashing in by mocking him, he goes serious husband mode and ruins her material. Lois bombs trying to joke about others, nearly gets booed off stage, and faces losing her special. At the last second, Peter embraces his role as the town fool, heckles himself, and saves her career.
Hey, you gonna huck that?
I'm still working on.
Runtime short, cue hasty reconciliation. The chicken, or the Meg, joins reality dating show Sex Farm and bonds with a man in a chicken suit, who turns out to be Nugget, son of Ernie.
I'm a chicken. My name is Nugget.
The giant chicken. Sparks fly, but Peter loses it when Nugget sneaks into Meg's room. Even after dinner proves Nugget is actually caring, Peter refuses to accept him. Meg moves in with the chicken family, where she bonds with them and thrives, until Nugget mocks Peter.
Honey, did you order a fat bag of crap?
Stand aside. I'm here to get my daughter back.
She's not coming with you. She's perfectly happy here.
Are you sure?
Torn, Meg admits she still loves her dad. When Ernie demands she renounce Peter, Meg goes full MMA, beats him down, and literally decapitates him. She heads home, proving in Quahog family trumps poultry, even if it's true love. Dog is my co-pilot. Brian gets hooked on a flight simulator app and convinces himself he's pilot material. When food poisoning sidelines Quagmire mid-flight,
Ah, it's coming!
Don't worry, Quagmire. I can take over.
Are you crazy? You could never in a million.
Brian lands the plane and becomes a hero, earning a press tour and key to the city. Quagmire, humiliated as the guy who crapped in the sink, quits flying until Brian stages a duck boat disaster so Quagmire can reclaim his pride. He saves the passengers, wrecks the harbor, and learns Brian never landed the plane at all. It was autopilot. Meanwhile, Stewie and Chris turn an old Easy Bake Oven into boutique pizza joint Mount Vesuvius, impress Dave Portnoy, then get shut down by Joe for lacking wheelchair access. Pitch imperfect. At Oktoberfest, Peter fails to win Lois a carnival prize when his throw gives out. Leading everyone, family included, to mock his masculinity. Embarrassed, he admits he never learned to throw. Pressured into tossing a first pitch at Little League, Peter trains with Meg's reverse psychology coaching. He shocks everyone with a perfect strike, immediately injures his arm, then prances around in a flamboyant victory lap.
That's exactly what I throw like. Time for a victory lap. Tra-la-la-la-la-la.
Respect restored, Quahog style. Meanwhile, Brian gets scammed by a chiropractor and starts BS chiropractics with Stewie. Chris opens a rival no BS clinic that actually helps people stealing their customers. Both get shut down by the health department, reminding us never to trust Griffins with healthcare. Hard times at Adam West High. Chris recalls bombing a book report thanks to a very visible erection.
Chris Griffin, please report to Woodshop.
Stop it!
Mocked by classmates, he nearly runs away until Brian suggests using Stewie's time machine to redo the moment. In the altered timeline, Meg ends up disfigured by a lab explosion she would have avoided thanks to Chris's distraction. The trio time hops again, battling alternate Chris's until things reset. Brian admits embarrassment is part of growing up, even humiliating ones. Meanwhile, Peter skips buying lottery scratchers with the guys, only to sulk when they win $123.
John Hamm, Arnold Palmer. The third one's just a mirror.
Jealous, he steals tickets, gets arrested, and is bailed out with their winnings. Lesson learned, friendship beats money. But barely. The LA word Quagmire sneaks out of the clam early and the guys suspect he's dating. A botched stakeout reveals the truth. His new girlfriend, Ella. She charms the gang, but they soon catch her cheating.
Oh, God, what am I gonna do?
With one of Quagmire's co-workers. Ella confesses she left because Quagmire never satisfied her. leaving Quahog's resident sex addict humiliated. The guys try to retrain him with horrifying tips, but only revive his ego by chanting, "Who else but Quagmire?" He tries to win Elle back but collapses from her bedroom skills with an orgasm-induced aneurysm. Meanwhile, Lois straps Stewie into a child harness after Dr. Hartman nearly runs him over. Brian abuses the power shift, lording over Stewie until neighborhood dogs shame him into letting go. A real Who's Hulu. Peter rediscovers Hulu and drags the Griffins through 3 parodies. First, Only Murders in the Building, where Meg, Brian, and Stewie investigate Peter's murder, ignore obvious killer Chris, and let Donna get wrongfully arrested. Next, The Dropout, with Lois as Elizabeth Holmes pitching a blood test that reveals your sex and the city character. She launches Quiznos. Peter hijacks it, and Chris outs her scam.
But he's the worst one! Oh my god, we've been faking the results this whole time!
Finally, The Bear, with Peter as Carmen Berzado trying to impress a critic. But the sketch collapses since only Chris has actually watched the show. Hulu, Quahog style 3 spoofs, 0 dignity, and a lot of confused viewers. China Doll. When Brian digs a hole in the yard, Stewie finds Rupert buried with a Made in China tag.
But what's this? Made in China?
Thrilled to be in an interracial relationship, Stewie decides Rupert deserves to meet his roots. He drags Brian and Chris to Beijing, where they find a toy factory mass-producing Ruperts. Stewie mistakes the assembly line workers for Rupert's parents, and even plans to ask their blessing to marry him. Before he can, Chinese officials arrest the trio as suspected spies. They escape, get caught again, and only win release by ratting out Chris. In the end, Stewie decides Rupert doesn't need family approval. Bad in-laws are already something they have in common. One foot in front of the mother. After Brian's barking ruins Quagmire's art project, he's forced to wear a shock collar until he stops. Every trigger sets it off. And finally, Brian sneaks a collar onto Quagmire for revenge. Both end up whispering until coyotes attack, proving Brian's barking had a point. He uses shocks to scare them away, vowing to protect neighbors even if he dislikes them. Meanwhile, Lois worries about Chris's health and pushes him into sports. He fails miserably until a bathroom emergency unlocks his hidden talent for speedwalking. Chris becomes a suburban celebrity, stealing Lois's walking buddies. Jealous, Lois challenges him to a race, but Chris throws it, giving her back her friends.
Chris. What? Chris, when did you make plans with Bonnie and Donna?
It was on the group text.
The Fat Lotus. The Griffins and friends vacation at Bermuda's White Lotus Resort, opening with a casket loaded on their flight home. Flashback, Peter skips a lighthouse trip with Lois and Quagmire for cheesecake, then grows paranoid they're having an affair. Turns out they just ate his dessert, and Lois admits she wanted romance, not Quagmire. Meanwhile, Meg and Chris fail at shoplifting souvenirs, while Brian relapses into alcoholism and gets fired for drunken antics. Elsewhere, Stewie ditches his usual persona to hang with Bruce, Jeffrey, and Dennis. Their volcano sacrifice is just posting a bad selfie, until Jeffrey dives after his hat, gets eaten by sharks, and becomes the guy in the casket. Cool Hand Lois. At a school auction, Lois outbids Bonnie on a romantic vacation, but the next day accidentally walks in on Chris, handling himself. Meg assures her it's normal, so Lois tries it herself, while Peter's gone and quickly becomes addicted. She and Bonnie bond over their shared habit, leading to a short-lived fling.
Hey, you want to go get a glass of wine or something?
I'd love that.
When Lois and Bonnie announce their couple's vacation, Peter and Joe panic, but soon notice how happy the women seem and back off. In true Quahog fashion, Peter and Joe end up sleeping together as payback. Lois realizes her experiment was only fun in theory, and Peter pretends nothing happened, while shooing Joe away from their awkward afterglow. Martian Meg. After no one wants her Dua Lipa concert ticket,
Plus, you get to socialize with all the other fans at intermission. What do you say?
Look me in the eye. The answer is no.
Meg feels unwanted and joins a Mars training program. Thanks to Seamus's wooden limbs, she technically wins the spot, though Lois notices her lack of commitment. When Meg boards the rocket, Lois joins to stop her, only for their combined weight to crash it into the ocean. They're rescued, proving Meg's not ready for space, but at least her mom cares. Meanwhile, Stewie falls for a unicorn doll named Maiden, forming a throuple with Rupert. Things sour when Rupert and Maiden get closer, so Stewie dumps the doll on Brian, who happily mauls it. Love triangles in Quahog never end well. Roe v. Wade Stewie pushes Brian to compete on The Price is Right, where he reluctantly wins the showcase showdown in a boat.
$289.99. Brian, you're the winner!
Gloating drives Stewie nuts, so Brian decides to use it for good, ferrying women from Texas to states with legal abortions. Reality check. The boat racks up $40,000 in taxes, so they try selling out some passengers for bounties before losing the boat entirely. Meanwhile, Peter wakes up with a Banksy painted on him and becomes a living museum piece.
Have to be here? Can't you go to the bathroom or something?
If I gotta go, they put a black tent over me like if they gotta shoot a horse.
He nearly sells himself at auction for $3 million until Lois splashes orange paint on him. Banksy calls it the real art. Carter still buys him, and Peter is literally wall decor.
Stop breathing so loud. I can't hear what NCIS is saying.
I don't think his name is NCIS.
Shut up, Art!
Karen Height, 451. Brian learns Lois is part of MILF, Moms Invested in Literary Fixing, who censor kids' books to protect innocence. He calls it out, but Fox News twists his words until his awful novel, Faster Than the Speed of Love, becomes a right-wing bestseller. Invited to read at a MAGA rally, both sides agree the book's so terrible, it deserves banning. Meanwhile, Peter and the guys get blackout drunk, accidentally marry each other twice, and vow to quit booze.
We got married again.
I can't believe it! Why does this keep happening to us?
Guys, don't you see? It's the alcohol. Every time we drink, we end up doing something stupid.
Sober life reveals they have nothing in common, so they split. Peter fills the void with obsessive hydration, annoying Lois so much she stages an intervention to make him drink again. In Quahog, alcohol equals friendship glue. Twain's World Brian bombs out of a writing class, so Stewie uses the time machine to introduce him to famous authors. Ernest Hemingway's drunk, Charles Dickens is moody, but Mark Twain clicks, so Brian drags him to modern Quahog. Problem is, Twain discovers internet porn and spirals into addiction.
I want to make porn! I want to be porn!
When Brian tries to publish Huckleberry Finn under his own name, he's canceled and expelled, while Twain becomes a porn actor. Chris points out Brian's ruined both porn and literature, forcing Stewie to return Twain to the past. Twain agrees, but sneaks back a fleshlight and becomes rich, selling it in his own time. The literary canon has never been filthier or more profitable. That wraps up Season 23 for now. Stay tuned, because even more Griffin's mayhem is still on the way.